and welcome to your regularly scheduled version review. Today we're taking a look at version 6.5, which has so much to talk about, yet so little to talk about it. No new Archon quest, we gotta wait for the next patch, which, just like I said, I wasn't afraid with them bringing Dottore back, but with how they're going to defeat him, I seriously expect some really big bullshit. Anyway, we got 2 new areas, a Mondstadt expansion with Dormanport, and a new sub-map area, the Temple of Space or Space of Asmodee as many call it. Other than those, it's the expected main event plus Stygian and minor events, and boy oh boy was this Stygian oh so fun, right? But just like I said, even with the standard affair of events, there is so little to talk about, and you will see why right now as we begin with the new areas. Dormanport might as well not be called an expansion of Mondstadt because it has less shit than fucking Dragonspine and is smaller than like Chenyu Vale, which was an actual expansion. Absolutely horrendous. Dormanport has seriously so little things to do. There are barely any chests, and there is so many fucking empty areas. The entire portion between the asylum and the world boss is literally empty except for some slimes. Are they kidding us? The port itself doesn't have anything interesting. There's like one quest outside of the one that gets you to the new area, and that's it. It takes you less than half an hour to fully complete Dormanport. They should be fucking ashamed for this. Which leads us to the Temple of Space. And people, I timed it. Yes, I did. From the moment I teleported next to Dormanport, or I just went close to it, up until I fully explored both it and the Temple of Space, yes, quest included, it took me a little bit over 3 hours to fully complete both of them. That is genuinely embarrassing. Seriously, I looked at the time and it was around 2 in the afternoon when I started and I finished around 5. The Temple of Space is a joke when it comes to exploration. The quest was okay for the most part, I'm not gonna lie. No matter how many, the main NPCs of the story are supposed to be Istaroth and whatever, I couldn't care less. Because the quest isn't that interesting, going through it is simply not that interesting, especially when it is unfucking voiced. If you wanna make such an important lore quest, then, I don't know, maybe, especially since there is no Archon quest this patch, make it voiced? Something like that? I don't know. The only interesting part was that you enter a certain section and it says, "Welcome to Hell." That's it. Anyway, couple that with the quest being structured that you have to explore the sub-areas to progress means that tied to the unvoiced quest is extremely boring exploration, which drags the quest further down. The sub-areas got some extra places to explore after finishing their part of the quest, but it's like 10 minutes extra. That's it, 10 minutes max of extra exploration. It's so funny and sad at the same time, the state that Genshin has ended up at. It started as a Breath of the Wild clone slash inspiration, because even from the beginning, Genshin was very, very different to Breath of the Wild. Like, it was all just, it has a glider and you can climb. That's mostly what people were like, yeah, it's a Breath of the Wild clone because it has climbing and a glider. Right, that's about it. But then even from the beginning, it had really lots and lots of different things. And up until Sumeru, it evolved even more and got praised. Everybody was praising Genshin for its exploration. Everybody was like, oh my god, new area, we're gonna explore so much. Even I was like that. And at the same time, though, you had the actual Genshin clones come out, the open world gachas, but because they completely lacked any interesting mechanics, especially when it comes to interacting with the world, people just flocked back to Genshin. Because it had the good exploration. But ever since Fontaine, and especially Natlan, now Genshin is the one copying the shitty open world gachas, and has made its open world a boring mess. I mean, even combat mechanics wise, it's copying the stupid power creep bullshit, but anyways, it's impressive to see this back and forth situation. I say this, having played most of the open world gachas, and before, you could show Genshin's exploration and you simply could not replicate it in those other games. But now everything is literally an interact button that anybody can do. Yay for brain dead gameplay! And this is exactly what I meant at the start. Look, we have 2 new areas. Oh man, there's gonna be so much to say. Oh, oh, they're either super empty and boring or just boring. So what is there to be said? Talk about the automated press the interact button to flip a platform or move it? Or how about how my excitement was instantaneously vaporized after the second or third bubble flower thingy or hit the faraway Anemo Slimes challenge when I realized, oh, these aren't here because they're necessarily Mondstadt related or they're here to make the exploration variable or varied. It's because the shield banner character uses a bow. Great. So want to talk about events? Oh, those events. Oh, baby. The main event was in Nodokrai, and what they sold as a black market-esque, atmosphere simply didn't exist, because who could have guessed? And let me tell ya, wow, this might easily be one of the worst main events ever. The story was utter trash. Actually, to be more precise, it was the most boring and uninteresting thing I have ever experienced, because a really bad story is much more entertaining and better than an uninteresting one. There was literally nothing to keep my attention to the story. It was horrendous. Horrendous. I mean, at the time of the event, I was rereading Re:Zero's Arc 6, which is complete, peak storytelling. So then, immediately being exposed to something inferior would make me biased. But, no. I'm not that kind of person. Even if that wasn't the case, I would still know that this event story was utter trash. And let me tell ya, the minigames. I can't do anything but laugh. These minigames don't even deserve points for trying to make something. They don't deserve points for effort. For, like, some effort on them. No. We had the Must Be Here combat minigame, a Plants vs. Zombies ripoff, and I can't really think right now which game or arcade-like shooter had this switch between forms to absorb or break different types of projectiles. I just can't put my finger on it to remember. I mean, the one game I can definitely think of is Nier Automata, and its projectiles that you can either shoot or you need to cut down. But I know very well that it was not the first to do such a thing. So, the details of these minigames are as follows. The combat minigame wanted you to kill 3 enemies, and then you got all of the points. That's it. I'm not fucking joking. Every single stage, you killed 3 enemies, so you charged the bullshit like you did in the previous version with the John minigame. You charged some bullshit, then you moved the circle around, and you literally got every single point. Like, that's it. Just that. Congratulations. My fucking goodness. The Plant vs. Zombies one was extremely easy if you have more than one brain cell. And if you simply copied and pasted the exact same strategy across all levels, you know, the exact same strategy that you would do in a Plants vs. Zombies game, you could just not even pay attention to the enemies once you were done building everything. Just Alt-Tab or leave the game to play itself, because nothing of interest would happen. And last, for the Usia Pneuma balls, while not the worst thing ever, the stages were over in legit less than a minute, and also never got interesting or difficult or anything, and that's it. This event was utter trash. Rewards-wise, the free Yahoda is pretty equally trash, at most useful somewhat in the Imaginarium Theater, and that's it. Never, ever let those that made this event do it again if it's gonna be this abysmal. The end. And as for the minor events outside of Stygian, we had a GeoGuessr event and a film event. We'll get to that one, definitely. But first, let's talk about what every single person thankfully agrees is the worst endgame combat rotation to ever exist in this fucking game. This Stygian was the worst of the worst. I believe even the most annoying Abyss doesn't compare, although we gotta wait for Snezhnaya and its stellar reactions to kick us in the balls, and maybe the number 1 spot will change. But this Stygian had it all. The New Moon Gecko with the worst of the worst mechanics ever, the Hera and the Papilla, legitimately the fucking trio of disaster right fucking here. The Hera and the Papilla are dogshit cancer in their own ways, the Papilla with its Stygian mechanics much more so than the Hera, but we all agree all agree that the Fearless Plus version of the Moon Gecko sits at the very top of worst bosses ever, because unlike its normal version that you also see in the Abyss, they decided to just shit on us even more with its mechanics, whereas normally when you break its shield, it will transfer a decent portion of the damage it took to the Moon Gecko, but now the ratio is 90% geo damage and 10% everything else. Congratulations, I can only laugh and clap at the level of brain damage that the devs and designers that thought of this have. Was it forced because we gotta sell Lunar Crystallize? Sure, but 6 years now and such a disgustingly stupid shield combo of mechanics has simply not existed, because we have to account for all the stupid shit that the Moon Gecko already has. Now you put this bullshit on top of that? Congratulations. I'm done. I don't want to talk more about this abomination. Moving on. The GeoGuessr event is exactly that. If you somehow don't know GeoGuessr, using Google Street View, you are placed somewhere on the Earth and you have to guess where you are. There is even a games version of this, with Genshin included up to a specific version. Don't know if it has been updated. But this event was basically that. You were put into a small area of the map, and using whatever clues you want, you had to pin the position of some specific things on the map. If you're good at navigating yourself and just, reading a map, then you most likely didn't even use the intended mechanics, because they wanted you to use these compass thingies to help you out, but just not using them was actually more fun. And that's what I did. I activated only one of them, and then I did everything as it is. Because I do actually watch plenty of GeoGuessr almost every day. It's really fun. All in all, this event was okay. It wasn't that tough. And honestly, the limited map actually made it harder, because I have played the Genshin GeoGuessr, and I always get a perfect score, because, well, I know my shit around this fucking map. Actually, the scoring on this event was extremely harsh for no reason. Not that you needed a perfect score to finish a stage, but you could be 1 fucking meter away from the spot and lose a bunch of points, and that didn't make any fucking sense. And now we finish with a banger, baby, because the last event was a quote-unquote filming event that literally, I don't have words for it. If you thought of the photo-taking events from previous versions interesting, when you used your characters and you could adjust the angle of the camera and you could pause on a specific frame and do all like that, with the normal attacks, the idle animations and whatnot, then this event had nothing of that. It was literally pre-recorded videos of your characters, and no matter what you did, it did not translate to the final product. You moved a bit around touching orbs to complete the scene, and again, no matter what, the result was exactly the same. Incredible. This event should be placed on a fucking podium for best event. and the cuts between scenes were so bad, a 12-year-old learning video editing could do better transitions than what they did. That was fantastic, man. So that's 6.5, or Luna 6. This version is one of the worst. New areas were done fully in 3 to 4 hours. The main event sucked so badly, I really was dreading having to do it. It was one of the rare times that you feel your time is going to waste doing something. That is genuinely impressive to achieve. Stygian had its worst rotation since its beginning, and one of the minor events should get taken to the back of an alley and get shot, never to be seen again, and forgotten forever. So, well, next up for videos is an Abyss and Imaginarium Theater reset, literally as this video is going up, and then we have a new version. Let's see what it's gonna have up its sleeve. Can't be this bad, right? Oh boy, and yes, I will try to grab Lothian, but we barely get any primos nowadays, so if my 50-50 luck is to be trusted, Lothian is not getting into my account. But if he does, well then, expect a video on him. But yeah, we're also gonna have to wait, because he's of course second half with Prune not on his fucking banner. Anyways, I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.